Welcome. This is Team 13 representing WildRanger, a game which will re-educate the teenagers about animal wildlife and importance. So what's the problem? What's going on with the wildlife right now? Well, one of the most important problems is poaching. And unfortunately, poaching has been rapidly increasing even since the 1970s. So all the way from 1970s, where there were around 10,000 of species which were near extinction. Right now, they're all the way up to 50,000 species, animal species, which are very close to being extinct. Many poaching activities have been on the rise, even during the national lockdowns in many African countries. This is not only for African countries, this is also seen in other places in the world, which we're going to see some examples right now. One big example is Uganda, where there is an increase of 100% in poaching activities while it was in lockdown. And having a country which is in lockdown, this gives opportunity to poachers to go out and do all those illegal activities in the wildlife, including in protected areas. In Indonesia, there is an increased activity of poaching, especially in rhinos, where this is the last place which has rhinos, elephants, orangutans, and tigers living at the same place. So what can we do? Well, we decided to introduce a game called WildRanger, which will help the teenagers to learn wild animal behaviors and save as many animals as possibly they can. Now let's take a look on some features that the game is going to contain. So it takes place in a real world location, but it's going to be virtually constructed. So for example, take a look at the Kruger National Park, which is right now is located in the boundary between South Africa and Mozambique. So that could be your starting location, and then you have a certain number of animals to save, and also you have a contract with a company which they give you, for example, 10,000 South African rand, the South African currency, and your goal in a given amount of time is to save as many animals as you can. So let's say that the company that you sign in the beginning of the game, it asks you to save to keep as many animals as possible for 10 days in the game days. And if you manage to keep all the animals, then you receive a lot of money from the company, so you can continue to the next level. And here you're going to use this money in order to be able to upgrade your park, so you can make it even harder for poachers to come into your park and then kill animals, as well as to buy better food for your animals so they can stay healthy, to prevent getting any external diseases which can cause. Again, this is a real life game, so any disease could appear. And another important thing is the learning part. So the game is going to be built in a smart way which will be able to learn from the player. So while you're playing the game, then your behavior will be turned into data set. It's going to be sent to a machine learning model, and based on that, it's going to create new instructions of how the animals will behave, how the external factors of the game will behave, for example, diseases, and how well you cope with certain weather conditions like raining and stuff like that. So for example, if you struggle with poachers, more poachers will come into your park and kill animals until you come up with a new strategy so you can prevent that. Now let's talk about revenue, because our biggest part of the game is about helping wild animal conservations in Africa in order to raise money, because also part of this issue is that many of these national parks do not have enough money right now because of the pandemic to preserve animals, and because of the social distancing and minimum staff, they don't have enough money in order to upgrade the security of these parks. A huge portion of our revenue is going to go directly to those parks, and the revenue is going to be divided into in-app purchases. You as a player, you'll be able to buy more equipment using real money, so you can purchase game cash. Then we have merchandise. So we're going to partner with multiple merchandisers who will create game toys and also heartbeat collars where animals will wear these collars, and then you're going to wear one in order to feel their heartbeat. Also, we will partner with sponsors in order to collaborate with other bodies, including schools, universities, wild animal protection parks, etc., etc. Let's talk about marketing. We need to make sure that we have a target market, which we find out that the best ideal group is going to be 11 to 15 years old, so we can be able to maximize the players and be able to expand after that easier. We did a market research through online surveys, interviews, and research. So the results were very positive. So we had 40 people who play 2 to 6 times a week, 100 of them know nothing about wild animal poaching, 80% of them want to learn more about wildlife, and 100% of them would like to play the pre-release version. So these very positive results, which gives us even more motivation in order to move on with our idea. As always, there are always going to be some competitors, some indirect and direct competitors. One of them is Internet of Elephants with a game WildVerse, which you can see a jungle, augment reality in your garden, and then see how the wild animals behave. Also, we have some multiple zoo management games, including Zoo Tycoon and Planet Zoo. And lastly, we need to make sure that our game stands out, and if it does, people need to be able to see it. And we came up with some strategies in order to effectively advertise it, including social media and an official website to have all the information of the game, including showing our sponsors and also the online shop where where the player will be able to purchase our merchandise, including animal toys and heartbeat collars. We'll partner with schools, and lastly, we're going to be hosting events online where we're going to be educating people about animal wildlife and how they are being treated right now with the poaching and all those bad activities, so we can attract more players that way. We would like to thank you for listening.